Can somebody actually tell me how those rocks got there? I mean, did aliens put them there? They make no sense to me at all. In fact, we are in Hampi, first time I ever visiting this area, and these sort of rocks, they're everywhere. And I'm a little perplexed because I genuinely can't understand how that rock formation exists naturally. What I'm not perplexed about, however, is the reason this video exists, and that is this, the second generation GLC. Well, technically it's the third generation because we never got the GLK in India. But if you ask anybody from Mercedes-Benz, they'll say this is the third generation GLC because they count the first generation GLK as a GLC. It's very complex and very complicated. What I am going to do today is make this video a lot simpler. Now, usually I'd go in the car and tell you all about features and talk about the exterior and talk about how it drives. I am going to talk about how it drives a little later, but mainly I'm going to tell you 5 things I like about it, 5 things I don't like about it, and at the end of the video I will still give you a conclusion whether you should put your hard-earned money and buy yourself one of these. But first, just a few seconds to admire how this looks. The BMW might polarize and the Audi might be plain, but this is a Mercedes. It does regal and it does it well. In fact, here, have a 20-second montage and admire it.
Baby, we run up the score. Maybe 100 or more. Crazy like we never miss. Never seen anyone play like this. Baby, we run up the score. Later we buy out the store. Keeping all accounts like Swiss. Never seen anyone play like this.
So let's talk about those 5 things I like and 5 things I dislike about the GLC. And I'm not going to do a 5 thing and 5 thing absolutely separately. I'm going to let it flow, almost like a conversation between you and a friend. You guys are my friends, aren't you? I hope at least you guys are. Sometimes I do hope. Okay, never mind. Let's talk about this first. This is what I really like about the GLC because, I mean, look, it's inspired by the S-Class. We saw it in the C-Class. It's cool in the C-Class. And it's cool here as well. Everything is just, in terms of the way it looks, I think this is the best interior in the class for sure. You know me, I like one little piece of standout detail that defines what the car is about. And for me, that piece is this. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little piece here, which is the trim that goes around the window switches. Normally, you wouldn't even care about it, right? But in this case, that aluminum finish and that knurling on it, the finishing, the machining on it, this looks like it's come straight out of a very high-end audio speaker of some sort, something that costs as much as a house. And you know what else is great? There's a feature in the infotainment where you can set your seats. Now, you don't have to set your seat through that. You can do it through these here. But if you can't get your seating exactly what you think you want it to be, Mercedes will help you do it. So now, this is my seating position. Sort of a little more upright, actually. Yep, that's my seating position. Down low, upright, nice and racy. But if I want to ask Mercedes to do it, I can go into comfort and seats and set seat automatically. I can put my height in there. 6 feet? 6? Nah, 5'10". I'm going to be honest, okay? 5'10". And I can say start positioning. That's what Mercedes thinks I should be driving at. But no, not really. I'm going to still have a little more upright. But what if I was 4'9"? What if I was really short? Let's see what happens then. Jewels are in danger. Yeah, so if I was 4'9", this is how I would be driving. Okay, let's put it back into mind and I can continue talking about what I don't like, because the one feature, come on Mercedes, don't skimp out on this. Cool seats. How hard? It cannot be that hard to give cool seats in a car. You already have heated seats. What's the point of heated seats in India? None. Not at all. But why wouldn't you give me cool seats? Why? And of course, the infotainment in general, okay, is still, it's too much sometimes. Yes, fine, you can use Apple CarPlay and most people will use Apple CarPlay, but just turning things on and off generally is a little annoying because you have to go through so many sub-menus to do it. It's a little too much. And then my final big gripe, and now I think I am nitpicking a little bit, but you know what? The rest of the interior is just so great, it's just so classy, and then Mercedes slaps this. I don't really know what this material is. It's obviously plastic, but why exactly has Govinda's shirts from the 1990s been put into this car? I have no idea. While there are some interior bits that are hits and misses, the one thing that is great all around is space. Rear seats are comfy overall. They're nice, they're soft, and just a good place to be, unsurprisingly. But I wish they offered the option of a rear interior too, apart from the 3 that they already have. That. Why in 2023 do we need a fake exhaust tip, Mercedes? Why? These. Now, 19-inch wheels as standard on all variants. That's good, great. But the one thing I do like is the way they're designed, because if you block out certain design elements, they look like older AMG wheels. Well, not older, 2 years older. And if you really start blocking out things and let your imagination run wild, which I sometimes end up doing, by sometimes I mean all the time, they sort of look like a monoblock design.
Город засыпает, мы в деле. Сегодня разорвется твой телек. Скорость дороже, чем деньги. Ну что, узнаем, кто первый.
Okay, now here's the thing. Not only is the GLC the best-selling SUV in the Mercedes range, it's also, in my opinion, the best driving SUV in the Mercedes SUV range. I think the GLC has always been the sweet spot. Now, the one thing that Mercedes has done standard in the second generation is the 9-speed automatic gearbox, obviously, and then 4MATIC, which is all-wheel drive. All variants, petrol, diesel, whatever variant you buy, will get all-wheel drive as standard. That's a great thing because, of course, it adds a little bit more usability, a little bit more safety, a little bit more drivability. It's just a nicer platform to have. Also, this price point, it demands that sort of technology built into the car, which it does. 300 petrol, which is what we're driving today. There's a 220 diesel, which is the other option. And sadly, there's no 300 diesel and no AMG line, which is something that, in my opinion, is a miss out for the GLC range. I know they've not done it in the past either, but I think they should have done it simply because that C300D is the range topper for the C-Class, and a sort of parallel GLC 300D AMG line or whatever, AMG Sport, whatever you want to call it, would have been a nice sort of top-up car, which of course is non-AMG. So let's talk about this, the GLC 300 petrol in particular, okay? 2-liter turbocharged engine, no small 1.5 nonsense here. Proper 2-liter turbocharged, nice, big, grunty, 258 horsepower, 400 Newton meter engine. 6.2 seconds to 100. But remember, this engine is now mild hybrid and it's aided with that starter generator stuff that does its wand magic. And when you do push your sort of right foot flat on the floor, that mild hybrid system gives another 23 horsepower and another 200 Newton meters of torque. That is more torque than the Honda Elevate has. Completely. All in. Good. It feels quick, but not as quick in a way that some of its rivals make you feel. It's without drama, poised, elegant, expected. And of course, it does handle well because, again, as I said, 19-inch wheels, overall suspension setup's always been good. You have the sort of peace of mind of all-wheel drive, and of course, when you do want to launch it really hard, it launches really hard as well. It just does. Now, listen, people aren't going to use it that way, but it's always nice to have that extra little performance to pull away from a pesky Innova that's tailgating you, or a pesky Fortuner that decides it wants to be too cool on the highway, right? It's always nice to have that little bit more performance, as usually is expected out of a Mercedes-Benz, isn't it? Overall, is it fun? Well, it can be if you really want it to be. Is it practical or 100%? Is it comfortable? Hell yes. Now by the time you see this go live on August 8th, we wouldn't know the prices as they come out on August 9th. But the one thing is certain, it ain't going to be cheap. But then this doesn't feel cheap, especially on the inside. It just feels like such a great package for what it is, and as with the last one, I would not be surprised if it becomes a bestseller and eats into the E-Class clientele.